We're going to talk about AI. We're going to talk about Memgraph Zero. We're going to talk about trends. But first and foremost, let's talk about you. Can you introduce yourself a bit for our audience? And also, I'd be very curious to hear you talk about your own experience with Graph and how you got to work in the world of Graph.
I'm Marko, CTO and co-founder at Memgraph. Basically, Dominic and I, other co-founder, we started Memgraph like 10 years ago. Just to introduce briefly Memgraph is a in-memory real-time graph database engine. We wanted to bring the real-time graph analytics to the market, and then, roughly 10 years ago, we started building the product.
So this is a part of a series of interviews we have done with other graph experts, and almost all of them have highlighted an emerging trend of the barrier to graph getting lower. Would you agree with that? Is that something you have observed yourself?
I would say so. I mean, I think the biggest barrier to entry about graphs is the first part, the education, because people are mostly not aware of it if they are not familiar from educational system. And with the whole recent trends, especially with AI, it's much easier to generate some code, or AI will actually pick the graphs as a natural solution. But still a lot of education is needed to actually get started, and then take it from there. Once there is some software or something that does some complex task, it actually takes some time to understand the stuff and figure out what actually to do next.
What are some of the most exciting things happening in Graph today?
There is multiple projects going on, and I guess the most exciting thing is that the diversity of tools and all the new things that it's happening under AI, because that's maybe a bit overstatement, but with AI, graphs are almost the only way to model data and go about it. And then a lot of those tools started incorporating graphs and that way of thinking, like linking data, building those networks, and running some analytics on top of that. And that's, I think, super exciting because it's getting much more closer to the user and much more easier than before.
And since you're speaking about AI, what role do you see Graph playing in AI today, but also moving forward?
It's both things, like solving particular problem and making some. Usually, graphs are there to do some analytics. Historically, it was all about some analytics. Maybe the most famous example is like Google's PageRank and such algorithms. It's very detailed and very specific. But more and more, it's also about connecting different data sources and bringing all the data together and making those connections and breaking those data silos and having data on multiple places, and then how to combine them. That's, I think, definitely emerging recently. So that's where graphs also can massively help. It's usually not one big knowledge graph. It's a lot of small ones, but they have to be connected and wired up somehow.
Now let's talk about Memgraph Zero.
That's actually a perfect segue, because that's one of the reasons why we started Memgraph Zero. That's actually a bigger umbrella under Zero ETL, let's say, move. Because of all these data, there is a lot of large data sets which can't be moved in any system. The idea was, let's just figure out a Zero ETL solution to execute graphs, because again, graph data model is very convenient for modeling and for data access. But the challenge is, how do you access petabyte of data and do that efficiently? Then there is also the GQL aspect, because GQL is getting the standard, let's say, declarative graph query language, and it feels very natural to actually build such Zero ETL layer with GQL, because assumption is that over years that will grow and expand and become much bigger. And plus, it's actual ISO standard, so people will follow that because it's actual very well taught and designed and has all the stuff built in. And then maybe last, I mean, it's not last, but one big thing is also the semantic layer for agents, because agents also want centralized data access and having data, or at least illusion that data is at one place. That's very convenient for agents because they can only have one endpoint and do all data access through that one endpoint. And also, it's not just about data access, it's also building the, let's say, I call it semantic layer, but important aspect is the feedback loop. So establishing the feedback loop where agents can incrementally update new knowledge as they figure it out. Because in large systems, there is no like one person or one agent that knows everything. That's like very iterative process to figure things out as you go. And then if the feedback loop is centralized, then agents have much bigger chance of success and figure out the right schema or the right knowledge graph in the end.
Indeed, it sounds like you chose the perfect time to launch a product like Memgraph Zero. We see a lot of interest for a product like this in the market, and we're very excited about it as well. Congratulations, I'd say. Great. One last question. We have talked about the great things happening in Graph right now, but what do we still have to do? What challenges do you think the Graph industry still has to solve to achieve wider adoption?
In terms of the challenges, I guess it's very similar as like 10 years ago. I think the main thing is education, because people are just not aware of the concept, and especially not all the capabilities that are available. And then, like what Memgraph focuses on a lot are those three pillars that we have, like ease of use, speed, and scale. Because those three things are usually not very well supported. It's either too hard to get started. You need some education, and that's like super hard for people in general. But yeah, the main job is to actually get that much easier, much faster, much more scalable.
Thank you, Marko. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you.
Thank you.